Hi, my name's Cody. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Toronto.
And my name is Camila, and I'm in my last year of studies at York University. Today we'll be talking about managing your finances as it relates to alcohol consumption in post-secondary education.
$667. That's how much the average student spends on alcohol. And that's a lot more than most students are spending on textbooks.
Yeah.
Now I remember back from, it wasn't very long ago, it was first year, was we were often looking for things to do in order to spend our Fridays. And believe it or not, it wasn't actually standard for people to assume Friday equals bar night, because it was common for us to realize it was really expensive. It's easy to spend as much as $40 or $60 while going out to the bar. Mm-hmm. So instead we would think of creative alternatives. It was common that Friday was right around the corner. We would say, what part of town do we want to go to this time? Or what part of campus haven't we seen yet? We often would find access to different buildings on campus. If someone had an access card, we'd explore the different buildings. We would find new parks in town that we've never been to.
I kind of have a similar experience, although it does differ slightly, for the simple fact that I am a commuter student. For myself, I had to plan ahead. I have to think about transportation. How am I going to get there? I have to think about how much money I want to spend for food, for drinks, so therefore I had to budget for that as well. And lastly, at the end of the night, what am I going to do? Am I going to go home, or am I going to stay at my friend's house? So for me, if I want to go home, then that's an extra cab ride fare home. In that situation, I do find myself obviously spending a lot of money just for a night out. As a rule of thumb, what I do, I carry enough money on hand. Cash only system is what I find works best for me, just so that I do not break the bank and don't go over my budget. What I do like to do is just to plan ahead, again, for unexpected expenses. Sometimes you may not be able to stay at the friend's house that you plan to. You might need to have extra fare for a cab. In my situation, I prefer 1888 Taxi Guy. I use a prepaid cash card system. Otherwise, like Cody said, you can always be creative. You can always find other things to do. What my friends and I normally do is host parties at our residence. So people will come over to my house, and if that's the situation, then what I like to do is to also just monitor my guests and ensure that when they are drinking, that they are within their limit. Obviously, sometimes some people may have a little too much to drink. If that's the situation, then I have to think ahead. Okay, so I have to plan for extra accommodation if that's the case. If I know that some of my guests are driving, I have to take away their keys just to ensure that they're not going to slip away and, drive in a car and, unfortunately some unexpected event would occur. Otherwise, in my situation, I think the best thing to do is just to plan ahead, especially as a commuter student, because you don't always have the luxury of just walking back to residence or taking public transit when you do live out of the community where your university is or college.
Most students are trying to make the most out of their university or college experience.
Right.
So really, it's important to balance the books while not breaking the bank.
That's a good point, Cody. Balance the books before breaking the bank. Da-da-da-da-da!